Hello, everyone. Just give a second for audio to connect. Welcome. Welcome, Jim. Welcome, Addie. Welcome, Cloud Team. Kim. Welcome, Sam. Thanks for being here. Going to give it a few minutes here just to let anyone else who might be joining us trickle in. But welcome to Make Your Website Work for You. This is a live webinar on the subject of how to improve your web presence to make it work better for you. So we're going to be having a couple different members of our community, the Webheads community, speak on some various subjects when it comes to improving your web presence and performance. And feel free to take any notes or get any insights or inspiration. And if you need any questions clarified, or if you have any specific questions or general questions, we do have a Q&A portion at the end. So you can feel free to stick around to the end and ask any questions that might come up during the talks or that you might have about firm support that you might need. But before we do that, let's just start with some brief introductions. My name is Joshua Lamoth. In addition to being the founder of this Webheads community, I also run a company called Grassroots Consulting, and I work with primarily small business owners and entrepreneurs and private practitioners to help them to improve their overall web presence so they can attract and connect with their best clients and partners. And I also want to introduce the members of our team. We are the Webheads. We are a collective of independent web professionals that come together to do educational events like this. And basically, we're a resource for anyone who might need some support with anything that they have going on web related. We'll get you some advice, some guidance, and maybe even help you through some of your challenges. So let's introduce briefly each one of the Webheads who's with us and maybe what you're going to be talking about today. Let's start with Sue.
Hi, I'm Sue LaChapelle. I'm coming to you from Maui. I'm a graphic designer with over 30 years of experience helping organizations develop strong brands and reaching their target audience through web design, digital marketing, social media, and print. I work with a wide range of clients from Fortune 50 companies to small businesses and entrepreneurs. So today we're going to talk about web design trends and what small businesses need to look at to successfully target their audience. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Thank you, Sue. Robert?
My name is Robert Coxe. I'm coming to you from Northwest Pennsylvania. Have a Silphium Design, and I work with environmental organizations and associated businesses with them. And I'll be talking to you about blogging. And I have an active blog site, so I'll be able to give you the ins and outs of blogging.
Great. Thanks, Robert. And finally, we've got Jeff.
Hi, I'm Jeff Severson. I own JTS Design Inc. I'm coming to you from the Hudson Valley region of New York. Today, I'm going to be talking about website security and some tips to help make your websites more secure.
All right, great. So just to kind of reiterate, we are the Webheads, and we're just a portion or sampling of our full team. But essentially, we have all kinds of disciplines when it comes to web design. We have different approaches in some cases. We have different perspectives, but we come together to sort of give tips and tricks and hints as to what you might want to be thinking about to improve your website performance or your brand or your messaging or your marketing. And while we're not, the be all end all of answers, and we certainly can't get into everything here on these calls, that's why we have a portion as well for Q&A if anyone wants to ask any questions at the end, so we can dive into a subject that you're interested in a little more deeply. But for the next hour or so, we're going to hear from our three Webheads. We're going to do some slideshow presentations. And if you want to take any notes, feel free to do that. If you have any questions that come up, you can also ask them in the chat. We're not going to interact too much with the chat, but if you want to ask a question while someone's speaking, we can come back to that at the end and address that. So I guess without further ado, let's just go right in, and let's start with Suzanne and design trends for 2024.
Great. I will share my screen. Let's see here. Great. Everyone can see my screen? Yep.
Yep.
All right, awesome. So in today's digital landscape, having a strong and effective website is essential for small businesses to successfully compete and reach their target audience. With a well-designed website, you can effectively engage existing customers while attracting new ones, boosting brand recognition and increasing sales. So this is me. So I have over 30 years experience, as I mentioned before, and I've worked with a wide range of clients. I'm going to give a link in the chat for my free 30-minute consultation. Just do a brand discovery, just look at what you have or what you can do. I'll give you some tips that you can work on yourself, as well as we can look to see if there's anything we can work on together. So to start with, how do users react to bad design? So whether consciously or not, we all react to visuals, and people are naturally drawn to good design. So when it comes to your website design, studies have shown again and again that users quickly judge your business based on visuals alone. So as you can see here from the numbers, 33% do not return to a website with too much content. They just look at it and they just don't know what to do. 80% leave websites with poor display on their device. So if they can't find it on there, they're just going to leave. About 50% measure a brand's credibility by its website design. So if it doesn't look professional, they're going to leave. 2 out of 3 engage more with a well-designed website. So what happens if they can't find the website? Again, they're going to leave. And 94% judge site based on its responsive design. So if they have to use their finger and scroll around the site, what's going to happen? Again, they're going to leave. So let's look at some positives. So number 1, what are some trends? Design your website with the user in mind. So in every business, your customers are the most important facet you need to focus on. That's why you should design keeping them in mind. So what's in it for me is a term used in marketing and advertising to describe what the audience will get out of using or buying a product. Focus on benefits of using your product or service instead of listing its features. So this is hard for small businesses, because what you want to make sure is that it's not, look how great I am. This is what can you do for me from the user standpoint. I'm going to give you some examples here. So here is MacBook Pro. Now, not everybody uses a Mac, but for the people who do use that, this is showing you, it's supercharged for pros. It gives you the benefits. It's not, look at, I'm a Mac, this is how great I am. So what this does is it definitely gives you the benefits. Here's another one, the Shave Club. Why join it? You get top shelf products. You're always in control. There's no question as to what the benefits are. So what you want to make sure of is, while your mom wants to know how great you are, they need to know it's credible, but they want to know what is in it for them. Second, use consistent branding. I'm sorry here, my mouse got stuck. Research shows that 71% of consumers say they're more likely to buy a product or service from a brand that they recognize. When customers see your logo, color scheme, and visual style consistently across different mediums, they'll start to associate those visual elements with your brand. This can help increase your brand awareness and customer loyalty. So with Coke, of course, when you see the red, you know it's Coke. If you see it in a yellow, you're not going to believe that it's Coke. So while Coke is a brand that's been around for a long time, their color has obviously done them well in branding, but even on a smaller scale, you can work your color and your logo consistently into your branding. Businesses with brand consistency are 3.5 more visible to customers. So you want to make sure that you use your logo and your colors. You don't want to use green on one thing and blue on another and red on something else. The third one is make your call to action stand out. So call to action, also referred to as a CTA, is a digital marketing strategy to get visitors to take a desired action, like buying a product or subscribing to a newsletter. There's a lot of different things it can be. So as a small business, as a small business, it's important to have a website that not only looks good, but also drives results. So here's an example. When you look at this, there's 2 red buttons, and clearly they want you to create a free playbook. And so what you want to be able to do is when someone comes to your site, you want to give them information, but you also want to make it clear what you want them to do. I'm going to give an example here. So one small business website design tip is to use clear and compelling language in your call to actions. You want to be able to use strong language that compels them to act. So you want to make sure that it says not just click here, but be more specific, like download our free ebook. So here's one that says get started without a credit card. So this makes it seem like that there's no obligation. Here's another one that says this is for a health publishing. Yes, I want to get healthier. Some of the ones that you've seen is I want to pay full price, are some of the ones that you've seen. So gives you the idea that you're missing out on something. I apologize. My mouse is sticking on my. I don't know why, sorry. Include testimonials. 92% of consumers read online testimonials and reviews when buying a product. So quote testimonials are the simplest way to display customer testimonials. Customers share their experience about the product or service in a short written quote. So this is the most likely what you'll see, where there's a logo or a picture, and then there's a blurb on the site. Social media testimonials can also include reviews from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You also can have a case study or more of a story or lesson from with a case study for a review.
See your screen unshared.
Uh-oh. Sorry, I don't know, I'm having some technical issue here. Thank you. There we go. All right. Can you guys see it? Sorry. All right. If it goes now. All right. Design with accessibility in mind. A good small business website must be accessible to everyone, and it must accommodate individuals with auditory, cognitive, visual, and motor disabilities. So some characteristics of for creating an accessible website are contrasting colors. You want to have the navigation needs to be concise, and you want to make sure you use alt text. And here are some examples of sites that are considered to be good for on the design accessibility scale. And you also want to make sure that there's video captions and add translations. All right, number 6, key information above the fold. So above the fold remains the most important part of a website. And it's even become more complex as more information on the websites is added. So the concept above the fold goes back to the days of the newspaper. So it's old school. So in order to attract an audience, you must present the most attention-grabbing headlines above and headlines above the top half of the page. So the website doesn't have a physical fold like a newspaper. So we also have to consider that above the fold is above the scroll. I apologize. My thing is just keeps sticking here, so I can't even move my stuff around here. So it is. So in the example, you can see is in this the example here. This is before before you scroll down. Is everything is important is above here. Here's another example where you have your call to action, you have your social media icons, you have all of your navigation as well as a search bar. The next, creating landing pages. So a landing pages is a web page designed to persuade users to take a specific action. So for example, having users sign up for a newsletter, purchase a product, or RSVP for an event. So like your homepage, landing pages are often the first experience visitors have with your website, but homepages and landing pages have different purposes. Homepages contain general information about your company, and they're the gateway to the other pages in your site. Landing pages are standalone pages focused on driving conversions. So in other words, landing pages are where you turn visitors into leads and customers. Home pages may also have multiple calls to action, encouraging visitors to browse the site's blog, check out its products and services. So here's an example of a landing page where you can sign up to grow your business. So they want you to get the global report. Here's another one from a client where the email marketing, the social posts all drive you back to a landing page to be able to download. Use video to highlight your website. So video on your website can help you attract more visitors and rank higher, keep your clients engaged. 87% of marketers say that videos help them increase traffic. So here's some examples. Here's Rolex. Rolex is known for quality and craftsmanship. So you can see in their video that they have up close and they're showing you how the craftsmanship and quality comes through in their new watches for 2022. Here's an example in contrast of for springing exercise, and they're showing the video movement to be able to download the app for exercise video. And this next one is for a theme park on a roller coaster. So the video is showing you how thrilling and exciting it is to come there. The next one, optimize for search engines. So it's essential to optimize your site for conversions and search engines. This helps your business get higher rankings in search engines and improve overall site quality. So I have an SEO checklist. And when you guys sign up for a, you'll have this list when you sign up after to get the slides. And 10 is keep your mobile users in mind. So when your website, this is what it looks like. The left is what it looks like when you're on desktop. And you know that you're not on a mobile responsive site if it looks like this, the second one where you have to move it around with your fingers versus on the right here where it is more stacked. So another example will be, this is not mobile on the left and this is mobile on your right. So if you look at your site analytics, you'll be able to tell the amount of site traffic that's coming from to your desktop versus your mobile. So more and more traffic is coming from your coming to your mobile. You want to make sure, especially, that your site is optimized for mobile. So in order to achieve success in the digital world today, small businesses need to have a website that's well designed, optimized, and functional. A small business website should not only be visually appealing and engaging, but also needs to provide valuable content and services that are relevant to your target audience. So those are some web design trends and tips for your site to make it work better. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Sue. Stu, if you want to put your contact information in the chat, if anybody would like to maybe assess any one or more of the points that Sue brought up for your own website to see how it kind of measures up for modern practices and trends, Sue can definitely help you. And if she'll put her info in the chat, then you can reach out and schedule a direct call with her. And just so you all know, our only offer here is that we offer our time to help you one-on-one with anything that you might be struggling with your web presence. This is not a sales type solicitation type event, but we do offer our time for 30 minutes, usually to get to know you, to assess what you need, to point you in the right direction, maybe offer a quote, or maybe even refer other members of our community if we're not the best fit. That's kind of what we're all about. So thank you, Sue. Let's go
What
to
was
our
number
next
4?
speaker, which is
What
going to
was
be
number
Robert.
4? What was number 4?
Sorry, what was it? What was number 4? Oh, you mean on
Yes.
Sue's list?
Yes.
Include testimonials.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. All right, next up
And
is.
Hold on one sec, Josh.
Oh,
one
go ahead,
second.
Sue.
Did you tell them after you can get all of the slides that they'll send out a PDF of all of them? You can get after.
Yeah, you know what I'll do? Thanks, Sue. What I'll do is we have a survey. Usually we do it at the end, but sometimes people have to jump a little quick. So what I'll also do is put a link to the survey. And when you fill out this brief survey, and it's only really to give us some feedback. We're not collecting your information, soliciting you or anything like that. We just appreciate feedback. And as a thank you, we do give our everyone's slides today as well. So if you think you might want to look at those slides and have them in addition to booking a call with any one of us, just go to the surveys page, fill out a quick survey, let us know how we're doing, where we can improve, and then you'll get that. Okay, anything else, Sue?
Yeah, don't say that how I did because it was a little technical. My mouse, I don't know what happened, is sticking, so it was terrible. So don't talk about that part, but you can have my slides because I couldn't talk.
Yes.
I can't do things at one time clearly.
Please, yes. Hey, we're in tech.
Don't talk
Sometimes
about
there's tech issues. We got to roll with the punches.
I
You know,
can't troubleshoot and do and talk at the same time clearly. So but you have my slides, and I'll give you a 3 minute. I'll even give you an hour now because I can't talk.
how generous. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us. All right. Now, Robert, why don't you step up and let me know if you need to
Hope the
share your
technical
screen if
thing
you
isn't
can't do it.
catchy.
There you
Me
go.
too.
Yeah, I'll be talking about blogging, and I'm Robert Coxe, and I have Selfium Design. A blog is an informational website or online journal that displays information via posts, videos, images, and other means. So when do you create your blog? Well, generally soon after you start finish your website. And you can use your blog to convey information, and it's like weaving a net. The more knots or posts you put in your blog, or the more you put in your net, the more users you can attract to your business and convert. So what are the benefits of a blog? Well, it drives website conversions, brings people to your site to get to know you, establishes you and or your company as an authority in your subject. You can develop interactivity through responding to comments, and it can build relationships, reinforces your brand. The more they see your brand, the more they get familiar with you. And it differentiates your business from competitors. You can tell how you're different than them and how you're better than them or whatnot. So driving conversions. Blogs have a longer lifespan than ads. Ads are usually for a specific time period, such as a coupon or some other promotion you're having. But a blog can take anywhere from 6 to 12 months to see the investment, depending on your subject area. But the returns are definitely much bigger than ads. And also, you want to be sure to add clear call to actions in your blog post in order to drive the engagement that you want and get conversions. Also, when you're blogging, you want to have social media content that's in coordination with the blog. So you can bring users to your blog, or you can send out information from your blog to the social media. Usually this can be done by an RSS feed or email marketing. Some example social media channels, Facebook or Instagram, PeerTube and PixelFed in the Fediverse, X, which used to be Twitter, Mastodon, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Quora, Reddit, or Wikipedia and Medium. In my blog, which I'll talk about a little later, I found that Pinterest is the best for me, and also Mastodon. But that's where my users are. You have to find where your users are to get the best return for the social media channels. So blog can also help build trust. You can answer questions that your visitors or users have and provide user information about your company. And you can build credibility or authority, show you know your industry. You can differentiate yourself, showing what makes you different. Also, you want to have consistent blog posts to reinforce your brand. And you want to use keywords related to your company's products or services, which helps you rank and also helps communicate your messages more effectively. What are the drawbacks? Well, I talked about how long it takes for a blog to rank, sometimes called the Google sandbox. Google wants to know that you're reputable and that you're there for the long term before they start ranking you. And I generally found that around 75 posts or so, you start to get activity or movement on your blog. Also takes a lot of consistency and persistence. You want to be consistent in your blog posts so Google comes back again and again to rank your site. And you have to believe you'll get there. When you're just starting out, you don't see much activity, but you just keep going and keep persistent at it, and you'll get there. And competition can be fierce for rankings, especially in some keywords. If you're doing long tail keywords or keywords where there isn't a lot of activity, it can be a little bit less fierce. But if you have a really trending word that you're trying to rank for, it can be almost impossible if you're a new blog. Also, you want to promote your blog outside your site. I talked about the social media. Well, talk about blogging is complete without talking about AI now. A lot of people are using AI to make their blog post. That's probably not the best idea because Google and others know if you've used AI and they're getting better at it. But generally, you want to use AI to try to get ideas for your blog and maybe supplementary material, but don't use it straight. So some resources. Ryan Robinson has a guide to blogging and has some free tools you can use. I also use Search Volume IO to find out how much a particular keyword is being searched. You can use Google Trends and answer Socrates. And I was going to show you here the keyword tool on the Ryan Robinson site. He has a keyword where you can look up keywords, but also you can get ideas for questions that people are asking about a particular keyword. In my case, I put in milkweeds, which are utilized by the monarch butterfly. This shows some of the questions, actually low competition questions that people are asking about milkweeds here. So this is an example keyword term. Another one is swallowtail butterflies. This is an answer Socrates. It will show you some low competition questions you can answer in your blog post and maybe even use a title for it. And this is using Google Trends here. Here I've put in the keyword term of milkweeds. And this is for the United States. You can do different countries. But here you can see interest in milkweeds highest in the summer, here when they're in flower and when they're growing. And then in the winter, it tends to tail off here in the US. So you'll see these trends when people are searching. Search was at the highest around right at the probably about May, and again towards the end of the summer. And then another term in Google Trends is swallowtail butterflies. This is in the US. And here you can see peaks in the summers and goes down in the winters. So these are some of the trends you can see. My particular blog, where I talk about butterflies and their host plants and butterfly gardening, it's a very seasonal thing. People are gardening in summer, not so much in the winter. And you can see that seasonality here. And notice here I use swallowtail butterflies. But if we go to Australia, I punched in the term swallowtail butterfly because for some reason, and I've just learned this by using it, in Australia, instead of thinking of swallowtail butterflies, they think of swallowtail butterfly. Sometimes they're also called swordtails, same species in Australia. But here you can see the reverse trend. What would be our summer is their winter, and our winter is their summer. So you see things in reverse. And I've also written a few blog posts for Australian swallowtails around this time of the year because they're interested in it now, whereas the interest in the US right now has died down. And then what do you get when you look at all those trends? Well, here's my blog here ranking in the first place for under the keyword term swallowtail butterflies in Harrisburg. Harrisburg is our capital city here in Pennsylvania. So if you write very good posts, you can rank first. So go into my blog. It's located at shopmullenhouse.com. This is a blog post I actually put out today. And if we go to the post, I want to talk about a concept called EAT in Google. It's experience, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. Something you want in your blog post and on your blog, your website, is you want to show that you're from someplace and that you have actual contact information and that you're an actual existing entity. So you want some kind of contact information which shows your trustworthiness. And in experience and expertise and navigability, I have a table of contents for each of the blog posts. I have an introduction, location, talk about plant hardiness zones because gardeners are interested in that with what plants they want. Talk about each of the species of butterflies, have pictures of them and the host plants here. And I talk about each of the different species found in this case, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Why did I pick Cedar Rapids? Well, if you look at Google Trends, a lot of people are looking for information on butterfly butterfly gardening and swallowtails in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So I decided to write a post about what swallowtails they have in Cedar Rapids. Here I talk about nectar plants. Then I have an area for frequently asked questions. A lot of people want to know where can I find a garden where I can get ideas for my garden. Books that they can find out more about butterfly gardening. And then I have references that I use to get information for the butterfly gardening. So I talked about my blog, and right now my blog's about 2.5 years old and has about 230 blog posts. So it can take time to get to rankings, and I really only got my first place ranking about 3 or 4 months ago. So my blog at that time was about 2 years old. It can take a while, but once you get there, it can start to get really easy to rank number one, especially if you have really good posts. So my blogging tip is to, if you can, in my case, I try to combine information about the butterflies and the host plants, which I showed you in that post. If you're doing singular things like a post on a butterfly and a post on a host plant, well, you have to compete with Wikipedia. But if you combine them, then you can get around Wikipedia. So look for places where you can combine 2 or more products together to produce more interest. Use Google Trends and follow the EAT principles. So I'll be around later for questions and comments.
All right, thank you, Robert. If anyone is thinking about blog writing as a marketing strategy, and like Robert said, as to set you up as an expert or an authority in what you do, I would encourage a conversation with Robert. He's a real fountain of knowledge for this stuff, not just from the writing perspective, but also writing for both human beings, but also for search engines. And that's an equally important part of it. So Robert, make sure you put your chat information in the chat. And I see we have some questions in the chat. Like I said, we are going to have a Q&A portion at the end of our scheduled conversation. So we'll circle back and each question will get addressed. And if you have any more questions, feel free to fill the chat up. Just in the interest of keeping things going and being on schedule, we do the questions at the end. So let's hear from our third and final speaker today. We're going to hear from Jeff. And Jeff's going to talk a little more technical stuff. Sometimes people have some challenges with their hosting or their maintenance or their security. And Jeff's an expert in that. So go ahead, Jeff. Take it away.
Okay. Okay. Great. Can everybody see my screen? Great. Hi, my name is Jeff Severson, owner of JTS Design Inc. I've been in business as a web developer for over 20 years. And today I'm going to talk to you about web security. I know it's boring, it's kind of technical, but it's also an important topic. It's something that's commonly overlooked by businesses until they really need to know about it. And at that point, it can be very expensive to rectify. So why is website security important? Well, first off, there's an estimated 30,000 websites that are hacked daily. This equates to about 11 million websites per year. Of those hacking attempts, 43% of those are targeting small businesses. In general, a cyber attack happens every 39 seconds. This includes attempts to hack a website, phishing attempts to try to gain your login credentials to your bank accounts or your social media, and various other types of cyber attacks. On average, the cost of a digital data breach in the US is $200,000, which would be quite a hit for a small business. In fact, 60% of all small businesses that suffer a data breach are generally out of business within 6 months. So how does this affect you? Well, first off, it can affect your brand and your reputation. If you have a new client who comes to your website and your website has been hacked and your website serves up a virus to them and infects their computer, you're probably not going to get them as a customer because they're going to have to spend time and money to fix their computer. In addition, there are certain hacks where a hacker will basically generate spam on your website. For an example, I had a new customer come to me on a Friday night a couple of years ago. Her website was displaying pornographic text and advertisements for prescription drugs. We don't know how long that spam was showing up on her website. So we don't know how many customers that she may have lost, but these instances can definitely damage your reputation. They can hurt the trust that you're trying to build with customers and essentially prevent them from becoming your customers. In addition, it can affect your SEO, your search engine optimization. If your website is serving up spam or if it's serving up malicious content, a search engine eventually will catch on to that and they will start displaying a disclaimer on the search results saying that your website may be malicious. If a person still continues to click on the search result, they are generally prompted again, warning them that they're going at their own risk and that they could be entering a website that is malicious and could be harmful. If it's really bad, or if this problem isn't rectified in a timely manner, you can actually be delisted from search engine results, and it'll be a trial to try to get your website relisted again. If you're an e-commerce website, you're selling products on your website or you're taking donations, having a hacked website could affect your ability to accept credit cards. For an example, if your website is hacked and the hacker is skimming credit card information that a user is entering to make a purchase or to make a donation, if you've been negligent in your website security, you could be held liable for that. In the end, it can affect your bottom line. As I mentioned, you could lose your ability to accept credit cards. Your merchant account could be canceled if you're negligent. You could potentially be fined, or you could even be receive a lawsuit, and you'll potentially lose customers as well with a hacked website. So what can you do? First off, enforce strong password policies. This should be done for both yourself and your employees. You should always use a unique password. This means that you should never reuse passwords across multiple websites. A good example, say you have a Target account and you are using the same username and password on Target as your website and your bank account. And say Target suffers a data breach. Well, now the hackers have your username and password for Target. If they can figure out that you're in business, that you have a business website and where you do your banking, they now have your username and password for all three websites. So that's a really great reason why you should always use a unique password on each website. A strong password is 14 characters minimum. It should also include letters and numbers. Your letters should be upper and lowercase, and your password should also include symbols. Having weak passwords is one of the prime attack vectors that hackers use to compromise websites and online accounts. So it's always important to have a strong password policy and to enforce unique passwords. Next, out-of-date software. This is also a prime vector for hackers to attack websites. If you are using Wix or Squarespace, this is not something that you really have to worry about because they handle all this, all the updates in the background. But if you're using something that's open source like WordPress or Joomla or Drupal or any other open source platform, it's something that you really need to be aware of. It's something that you need to be on top of. The core software, this is the basic functionality like WordPress or Joomla itself. Like any software, it can have software vulnerabilities. It can have bugs that allow a hacker to basically compromise your website. Plugins and add-ons, these are pieces of software that extend the functionality of your core software. They also, like any software, may have vulnerabilities or they may have bugs. So it's always a good idea to keep both up to date. Can also help the performance of your website, help your website prevent your website from crashing. So it's a good thing for multiple reasons to keep your software up to date. Lastly, there's server software. This is more something that your web developer or your web host would be more in tune with, but something that you should be aware of. Open source software like WordPress and Joomla, they're built off of a programming language called PHP. PHP has its own vulnerabilities, it has its own bugs. So that organization regularly releases new versions that should be kept up to date when they're released. Next, two-factor authentication. This is a great feature to help protect all of your online accounts. This is where you go to log into a website and they ask you for an additional piece of information. Two-factor authentication works by email, text message, or authenticator app. The most common being the Google Authenticator. How this works is you go to a website, you enter in your username and password, click login, and then they'll ask you for a code. With the Authenticator app, you open up the app on your phone, you scroll to the website that you've set up in there previously, you take your code and you enter it into the website, and then it allows you to continue your login. So this is great because if somebody does have your username and password, they are somehow able to obtain it, they have to then bypass the two-factor authentication, which means that they either need access to your email, your phone, or your authenticator app. So this is a great way to help protect all of your online accounts. In addition, your website should have a firewall. There's various methods to have this done. Your web host may have an in-house firewall that they automatically put in place. If you're using WordPress or other third-party open source platforms, there may be plugins that you can install as a firewall. For WordPress, I personally prefer WordFence. And there's the third option. There's offsite solutions such as Security and CloudGuard, Cloudflare. My personal preference with WordPress is a combination of WordFence and Cloudflare. Services like Cloudflare and Security, they also offer performance benefits to your website. So it's also, you kind of get a two for one deal when you sign up for one of those services. In addition, having CAPTCHAs on all your forms is definitely important. We've probably all seen this. You go to a contact form and there's a little box at the bottom where you have to enter letters and numbers, or if it's Google, you have to check a box before they allow you to submit the form. This works great on contact forms because it helps prevent spam from being submitted through your forms. On login forms, it works great because it helps prevent brute force attacks. Basically, the software that performs brute force attacks tries to enter in hundreds, if not thousands, of usernames and passwords on a login form over and over again over the course of seconds and minutes. With a CAPTCHA in place, it helps prevent those logins from actually going through. Lastly, you should always have a backup of your website. It's very important. It should always be an offsite backup. You can back up your website to Google Drive. There's third-party services like CodeGuard. With CodeGuard, you basically set up your website credentials in it, and it'll back up your website on a daily basis. And then if you ever get hacked or your website goes down because of a bad upgrade, or your web hosting company goes out of business, you have a backup on an offsite location that you can use to reset up your website. In the case of a hacked website or a bad update with CodeGuard, it's generally just a push of a button, and it'll restore your website over the course of a couple minutes to a couple hours. And in conclusion, I just wanted to reiterate that it's very important. Website security is a very important topic. It's something that you should take seriously. A lot of people have this idea that it can never happen to them, but eventually it can very likely happen to you, and it can be a very expensive endeavor to come back from it. No website should be ever considered to be 100% secure for various reasons. It could be bad code, old software, negligence, human error. All these factors contribute to potentially having a website that can be compromised. So it's up to us to be proactive and try to institute policies that help make websites more secure. Thank you. And if you have any questions, I'll be available during the Q&A.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Yeah, just scratching the surface there, but that's a lot of important factors that can really make or break your site's performance and impact things that we don't even consider. So if anybody is thinking about maybe wanting to have an assessment or a review of their current, technical setup and situation, and see where there might be opportunities to put some software or integrate some things that might be improve things for you, definitely reach out to Jeff. Jeff, if you can put your contact down below if you haven't already. It looks like you did. Fantastic. Right before we see if there's any address some of these questions and see if there's any more, I just want to also post a link just as a real quick one. We have a link to one page that will give you everybody's contact information and a direct opportunity to reach out to us through our booking form. So there's just that. I'll go back through the chat here now and just see if there's any questions that stand out that we can kind of circle back. And then if anybody has a specific question, either about something we've mentioned in the past and want more information on, or if there's something that you're kind of dealing with or challenged with, we don't get into the weeds too much technically, but we can at least give you a little bit of advice if or point you in the right direction if you have a question. So let's see. There was a question in the audience a little bit earlier about the EEAT guidelines. I know some of the chat has some information in there as well that you could take a look at. But Robert, do you want to say anything specifically, or can you say a little bit more about the EEAT guidelines, specifically what exactly they are, what do they affect, and what are some, how do you work with Google to increase your EEAT scoring?
Basically, the nuts and bolts of the EEAT was Google was looking for sites that actually contribute information to users, that provide quality information. And they also wanted to uprate those sites that are actually being made by actual people and not anonymous whatever. So they want to know that you're trustworthy, that you're an authority in your subject, and that you also have some expertise or experience in it. So they're basically looking for qualitative or quality information in the sites. And that came about this past summer in a quality update from Google.
So yeah, Robert mentioned a few things that you can do to increase that that score. But what's interesting about this is now that Google is shifting the way that it is grading and scoring this kind of content, actually, in my opinion, and Robert, you can tell me if I'm wrong, it opens up the door for a lot of people who are sort of just maybe they've been overwhelmed or intimidated by having to start from maybe nothing or very few articles and build up a library compared to competitors, which might have a lot. With these new Google guidelines, you may be able to surpass some competition with relatively I don't say quick, but relatively quick speed and take advantage of these guidelines. So once again, yeah, Robert, if you want to speak to that at all,
Yeah, just make sure that you cover the subject well. And if you cover it better than the other competitors in your area, then you'll rank at the top. It used to
absolutely,
be
and
if
it's
you
all about
keyword
strategy,
stuffed,
right?
you could rank at the top, but now it's going by quality rather than being able to figure out the numbers.
Yeah, like you said, keyword stuffing and things like that. There's become more of a format that's really going to succeed. So that's why I want to highlight that because if anyone is considering looking at doing a blog, it's like you could really do it the right way from the beginning and really benefit, or you can do it in a way that is not as optimized and not take advantage of that. So it's really important to know these guidelines. Anyone else, any other webheads want to comment on anything like the EAT or the blogging conversation? Okay, great. Are there any other questions in the chat? I don't see any. I could be wrong. I'm looking through them, but if anybody would like to come off mute and introduce yourself, maybe just say what had you come here today, ask a question or just say hi, we can do that. We always leave time here at the end just for whatever engagement we get from the audience. So either put a question in the chat or come right off mute and you can ask a question or say hello and let us know how we can help you. Don't be shy. I'll give a few seconds if anybody wants to try that.
I'll go first.
Thank you, Addie.
Hi, I'm Addie. I work with Vivescape, which is a company in Indiana that does website design, SEO, basically any marketing thing that you can throw our way. So I just wanted to gather some more information on things that are going on in the industry, which is why I signed up for this Zoom. So just one question that I have that I think you kind of touched on, Jeff. We actually have someone who was their website was taken over by an entity that is posting not so great things, but we are not actually associated with them, but they do have us backlinked. And so I was wondering what happens when a site gets taken over and it's technically a backlink to our site.
That's a good question. That's more of an SEO question. I don't really have a good answer for that. Because I don't really do SEO, so that's kind of not my area. I would put that out to the other three webheads to see if they have a better answer.
Can you just say the long and short of it one more time just so we can fully get it? Because I might be able to answer that. Yeah.
So what happened was when I was looking at like what authoritative backlinks that we do have, we actually have one that is the strongest. And it used to be, it looks like it used to be a community college. And unfortunately, it was with WordPress. They probably didn't update a lot of things because they are outsourcing. But when I was like, oh, this is such a great backlink, and I looked at it, I was like, oh, they've been taken over. So now I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't even know how to get rid of the backlink. I think that there's probably a tool I could use, but then I'm like, this is our strongest, technically authoritative backlink because obviously this takeover is brand new. So I'm like, do I figure it out with them and try to make a solution so that we can still have that backlink? Do I need to just wash my hands of it? Because I know taking back over a site is just going to be a nightmare, and it might not even be possible, which is why you said, within 6 months, people probably just shut their doors. So that's where I'm like, what do I do? And also, how do I make sure that those people that took over that site don't find me?
I guess I don't understand. Why do why do you want to be associated with it? I guess I'm missing, am I missing
For
something?
the score, the backlink score, she says
Right,
one
but-
of her more authoritative
Right, but
backlinks,
you
which
don't want
has,
to be associated with them though.
Right, but if they, my whole thing is like, I don't know if this is just like just a flip, like just a blip that's they're gonna repair it because it is a community college, or if I need to just cut my losses now. Like, do I play the waiting game or do I cut my losses? What's the solution to this?
Did
And
you
I
contact
and I
I would,
Did you contact them or no?
no, I haven't contacted them yet.
Oh, I mean, I would contact them before you first. And then to make sure, one, that they know, because we had a client who had that and they didn't know, because we didn't do their hosting, we did the front end stuff. They didn't know that they had a whole folder that was like buried that had all kinds of spam in it. And the hosting company was like, they did hosting, but like, honestly, that wasn't like really what they did. And then they had all these folders that were like these hidden folders that had all this spam stuff in it. So they actually ended up uncovering a bunch of spam for a bunch of clients. So I would say is I would go to them first, but it has to be resolved. Otherwise, then all that spam is going to end up coming back to you at some point too. Because I wouldn't just wait for them to figure it out.
Right. Within that context, I would certainly contact the company first. There is probably a link or a tool on Google, if it came down to it, where you could report the website as being spam or malicious. But in terms of actually removing those backlinks, I think that's going to be up to Google to actually do that. So I don't know if there's an actual way for you to do it other than just reporting it and or contacting the customer and letting them know. I think that's pretty much the extent of what you would be able to do.
It's a disavow.
yeah, here's a link.
Yeah, I was
Here's
gonna
a
say,
link for you all to see, specifically Addie. There's a disavow link.
It's called disavow. Yeah, but you have to be careful using it. But yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's
your
why you
answer was right
contact them
too.
first.
Contacting them first is the
That's
best thing to do.
first you contact them first, because they just may not know. And like I said, it could be in a folder hidden. Like this one was like really buried, and like they had to dig pretty hard. And the person who was hosting it was a similar situation, like a community college, where it was really buried in there, and it just kept, it was like a Viagra thing where that guy kept coming up, and they kept saying they fixed it and they didn't, and it kept coming up, and we're like, it's like, it keeps coming up, like you have to find it. And so yeah, I would reach out to them first. But if they don't, you do have to kind of cut it. And the consequences on the other side and the amount of time and energy you put into it, because it kind of goes to the credibility part. So
I was going to say another key to this is you were saying it was a community college. EDU links also carry a lot of SEO weight. So when they start having problems, you probably lost a lot of the weight from that EDU link.
yeah.
Definitely. This is all great solutions, so I'll definitely start working on that. But
You know what I
thank
was
you
thinking,
so
Addie,
much.
if you reach out to them, you might end up with a client. Who
Yeah.
knows, right? I mean, they may need some help that you can help them with. So it's probably a good idea to reach out regardless. But yeah, that's great. Any other questions or anything related or unrelated, Addie?
Unrelated, what part of Indiana are you in?
So I'm actually remotely in Tennessee, but they are
Okay.
in Elkhart, which is like
Okay.
right, I
Yep.
think it's actually like right under South Bend,
Yeah.
which is like the bigger
Nice.
city.
Yeah.
They're almost right on the border.
Yeah. No, my son lives in Broad Ripple, and he went to DePaul. So I'm in Indiana fairly frequently. So
Oh, nice. Everybody's from Indiana. Nobody comes to Tennessee.
but that's not
boring
boring.
here.
I actually just came back from Tennessee. My brother lives there.
Oh, do you like it?
Oh, look, and
Oh,
there's
yeah.
Jim.
Yep.
His tent.
And
There you
Jim
go. Jim's
lives
here.
there too. And I just met him.
Whoa now. Whoa now.
There you go.
If I
Uh-oh.
said
Now it comes.
said
Now
ugly
you're here.
things about Tennessee.
Ah,
You don't even have the right accent. Jim, get in there.
well, I can talk from East Tennessee, by God, now I'm here. You know, y'all putting us down hell far.
Awesome.
I'm
No,
right
that's
on.
great.
I'm in West
Tennessee is a great
Tennessee.
location.
Yes, absolutely.
That's funny. See, small
Cool.
world here. So
Small world, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is why we like to have this kind of at the end here, so we can just get to know each other a little bit and see how we can help. But I just want to open it up. If there's anyone else here that just would like
Looks like-
to address anything, let's give them the floor. Otherwise, yes, Sue, what
like
were you going to say?
Kim's in Indiana there, it looks like.
Oh, there you go.
No,
See?
she's on mute.
You never know who you could network with.
That's right.
All right, cool. I'm not seeing any other comments or any other things. We certainly don't want to waste anyone's time that's complete. I'm going to just mention one more thing. We do these kind of events once a week. Our next one before the holiday break is basically a Q&A. It's like this. So if you think of any questions you might want to ask next week, you can feel free to join us if if anything comes up in the next week, or if you think somebody else that you know might benefit from being around some webheads and asking some questions. There's a link to our next Q&A. Once again, we are all available to have one-on-ones with. For whatever reason you might want to talk to a webhead, book a call with any one of us, and we're happy to give you 30 minutes time, roughly complimentary, and see how we can help you. There's another link to there, and then I'll just give you one final link to the survey. Again, it's really just so we can improve these kinds of things and make them as good as we can for you. So if you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes to just fill out a simple survey, it helps us, and then you get the slideshows from all of us to reference. So unless any other webheads want to give any final comments or anyone has any final questions, we're gonna call it. And thank you all for coming. All right. Thanks for being with us.
Thank
Hope
you.
to see you at an upcoming webhead event, and good luck with all your web related issues. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.